Have you ever looked back on your life and thought, if I had only known this earlier, I could have saved myself so much pain? You're not alone. Most men don't get the lessons early. They learn them after the breakup, after the job loss, after they stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering where it all went wrong. By the time clarity arrives, the damage is often already done. The relationship has ended. The dream has faded, and what's left is a hollow kind of regret. But here's the truth. This video isn't here to hurt you. It's here to wake you up. We live in a world that hands out empty motivation like candy. Be a man. Grind harder. Just move on. But what if that noise is what's keeping you asleep? What if strength isn't found in pretending you're okay, but in being honest about the lessons you were never taught? This isn't a video full of cliches. This is about the quiet truths. The ones you only learn when life strips away your illusions. Truths that hurt, but heal. Like how chasing validation leaves you emptier, or how silence doesn't make you stronger, just more alone. And how no one is coming to save you because you are the one you've been waiting for. You might not like what you hear, but you'll feel something shift, because deep down, part of you already knows these things are true. So before you click away, take a breath, because what you're about to hear might sting, but it could also set you free. Let's begin. Let's start with something that might hit a nerve. Stop chasing women. Start building yourself. I know, it sounds harsh, but let's be real. How many men waste their energy pursuing attention, affection, validation, only to end up feeling emptier than before? We've been conditioned to believe that the woman we desire, the one who'll complete us, is the destination. That if we say the right words, look the right way, or hustle just enough, she'll show up like a prize, waiting at the finish line. But here's the deeper truth. Chasing women is often just a distraction from chasing yourself. You run toward her because you're running away from your own emptiness, from the silence you avoid, from the purpose you haven't claimed, and you wonder why it never works out. Real attraction lasting. Magnetic attraction doesn't come from pursuit. It comes from presence, from becoming a man so grounded in who he is, so aligned with his mission, that people, not just women, feel it when he walks into a room. Let me ask you this. What would your life look like if you put all that energy, the time spent texting, chasing, overthinking, into becoming someone you admire? Not for her approval, but for your own peace. You don't attract what you chase. You attract what you become. It's not just a catchy quote. It's a principle. When your life is rich with meaning, when your days are filled with progress and integrity, love becomes a byproduct, not a goal. And here's the irony. When you stop needing women to validate your worth, they show up, not because you chased them, but because you didn't need to. Because strength is attractive, purpose is magnetic, wholeness is rare. So no, this isn't about being cold or avoiding love. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need love to feel whole, and therefore can love more fully, more freely, and more fearlessly. You want her to notice you? Then build a life so powerful she can't look away. Let me say something that may feel uncomfortable at first. Not everyone deserves access to you. And yes, that includes friends, co-workers, even family sometimes. You see, many of us confuse kindness with availability. We think being a good person means saying yes to every text, every favor, every last-minute request. We tell ourselves, I don't want to seem cold, or I should help if I can. But here's the truth. If you're constantly available to everyone, you eventually become empty to yourself. Your energy is not infinite. Your attention is not free. And the more you hand it out without boundaries, the more people begin to treat it like it has no value. So what do? You set healthy limits, not from anger, but from wisdom. You protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. You learn that saying no to others is sometimes a deeper yes to your own well-being. Think about this. If your phone rings with a problem every time you're finally sitting still, if you feel guilty resting, if the people around you only seek you out when they need something, Maybe it's not about being kind anymore. Maybe it's about reclaiming yourself. And here's a powerful mindset shift. You are the lighthouse, not the rescue boat. Your job isn't to throw yourself into everyone's storm. It's to stand firm in your light, your presence, and your values, so that the people who are ready to grow can find their own way by seeing your example. People respect what you protect. When you become more calm, more selective, more grounded, you stop chasing approval and start commanding respect. So the next time you feel the pressure to be always there, remember this: you don't have to prove your worth by being available to everyone. You prove it by knowing who truly deserves access and who doesn't. There's a hard truth we all have to confront at some point in life. The world doesn't owe you anything. Not love, not loyalty, not fairness, not even an explanation. You could be the kindest person in the room and still be ignored. You could give your all to someone and still be left behind. You could follow every rule, do everything right, and life will still throw punches. Now, you might be thinking, that's depressing. But what if I told you it's actually freeing? See, when we walk around expecting the world to reward us for our goodness, we set ourselves up for resentment. We think, if I'm nice enough, people won't hurt me. If I love deeply, I'll be loved back. But that's not how life works. And the sooner you stop expecting fairness, the sooner you start building real power. Because here's the truth: no one is coming to save you. Not your partner, not your parents, not your job, not even time. You are the one you've been waiting for. That realization isn't cold, it's clarity. And from clarity comes strength. When you stop blaming life for being unfair, when you stop waiting for someone to fix it, that's when something shifts inside you. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? You begin to move from victim to author, from reaction to action. Think of the Stoics. They didn't spend their days hoping for an easier world. They trained themselves to become stronger men inside the one we already have. So here's a question to sit with. If life never gets easier, will you get stronger? Because freedom doesn't come from life getting nicer. It comes from you getting wiser. And real power, it begins the moment you stop expecting the world to give and start showing the world what you can create. There was a time, maybe in your 20s, when being seen felt like the goal, the followers, the validation, the attention in a crowded room, the thrill of being noticed, admired, even envied. We're taught early on that attention is currency. The more eyes on you, the more valuable you must be, right? But here's the quiet truth that hits you as you grow. Most attention is empty, and some of it is outright poison. Not every person watching you claps when you win. Not every like is love, and not every spotlight leads you toward purpose. In fact, the chase for attention often leads us away from ourselves. We get loud, we get flashy, we trade peace for applause. We become addicted to the performance and forget how to just be. Have you ever felt that? Like you're constantly on, but no one really sees you. Let me offer a different definition of strength. 1. The Stoics understood deeply. True power is quiet, calm, grounded. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need constant reassurance. It walks into a room and doesn't need to be the loudest because its presence is felt without effort. Peace is the fruit of that kind of power. It's what you feel when you're aligned with who you are, not who you think the world wants you to be. So ask yourself, would you rather be seen by everyone and known by no one, or be known deeply, even if only by a few? Here's the paradox. The more you choose peace over performance, the more authentic influence you actually build. The people who matter start to notice not the noise, but the depth. Attention fades, trends die, but peace. Peace sustains. Peace heals. And in a world that's constantly shouting, the person who speaks with calm conviction is the one people truly listen to. So don't just chase attention. Protect your peace. It's your real power. Let's be honest, most of us were taught, especially as men, that silence is strength. Don't cry. Don't complain. Don't show too much. Smile. Numb it. Push through. Somewhere along the way, we confused emotional suppression with emotional maturity. But the truth is, whatever you suppress doesn't disappear. It stores, it simmers, and eventually, it explodes. How many relationships break not because of betrayal, but because one person stopped sharing worse? How many people suffer silently in jobs, marriages, and friendships, simply because they never learned how to say, "This isn't working for me"? Hiding your truth might keep the peace on the outside, but inside, it breeds resentment, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. And here's the kicker: silence is not strength. It's often unprocessed pain wearing a mask. Have you ever held something in for so long, and when it finally slipped out, it came out sharp, messy, and louder than you intended? That's not your truth being heard. That's your truth trying to escape a cage it never belonged in. Now, I'm not saying to overshare or emotionally dump. Stoicism teaches discipline, not denial. Emotional control doesn't mean emotional avoidance. It means knowing when, how, and why to speak, with clarity and intention. Expressing what you feel when done calmly and clearly isn't weakness. It's courage. It's ownership. It's saying, I respect myself enough to be honest, even if my voice shakes. We live in a culture obsessed with image, but healing doesn't come from being impressive. It comes from being real. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, I'm not okay with this. I need something different. Or even just, this hurt. So if you've been holding it in, ask yourself, what's the cost of staying silent? And what might shift in your life if you just told the truth? Here's the wisdom. You can't build a free life on a foundation of suppression. Speak your truth calmly, clearly, and with love, not to control anyone else, but to liberate yourself. Let's have a real conversation. How many of us have sat in silence, hoping someone would show up and save us? Maybe it was a relationship, a mentor, a friend, a coach, someone who would finally see our pain and make it go away. But here's the hard truth. No one is coming, not in the way we imagine, not to rescue you from your past, not to fix the wounds you've been hiding. Healing is not something you outsource. It's not a gift someone can give you. It's a path only you can walk. And yes, people can walk beside you. They can love you and support you, even point out the patterns you can't see. But they cannot do the inner work for you, because healing isn't about waiting, it's about choosing. It's waking up and saying, I don't want to carry this anymore. It's owning your story, not blaming your parents, your ex, or the world. It's looking in the mirror and realizing, I am both the problem and the solution, and that's my power. Now, that might sound harsh, but it's actually freedom, because if someone else were responsible for fixing you, then your peace would forever be in their hands. But when you take ownership, when you step into that responsibility, you become untouchable. You don't need perfect conditions to start healing. You need discipline, you need honesty, and you need the courage to stop numbing and start feeling. So ask yourself, what are you still waiting for? Who are you still hoping will come and make it better? Because what if it's you? What if you've been the answer all along? Here's the Stoic reminder. You can't control what broke you, but you can control what you choose to rebuild. And no one can heal you but you. Let's talk about something we rarely say out loud. The woman you're chasing, she's not your savior. She's not your missing piece. She's not the medicine for your loneliness or your chaos. She's a mirror. That's the hard truth. She reflects exactly where you are. If you feel lost, disconnected, insecure, don't be surprised when the women you attract feel the same way. If you're grounded, focused, full of purpose, you'll draw people into your life who reflect that stability. You see, life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you are. We love to believe that when we get the girl, everything will fall into place. But here's the twist. If you haven't built yourself, you'll sabotage the very thing you crave. Why? Because you'll look to her to make you feel enough, and that's a weight no one should carry. A woman is not the prize. You are. The woman you want, the one who's smart, grounded, kind, and powerful. She's not looking for someone to fix. She's looking for a man who has done his own work. Someone who doesn't need her to feel whole, but who chooses her from a place of wholeness. So ask yourself honestly, if the woman of your dreams showed up today, would you be ready? Not ready to impress her, but ready to meet her, eye to eye, soul to soul. Because if you want a great woman, be a great man. Not perfect, not flashy, not fake confidence, but real, grounded, and growing. The mirror will always reflect what you bring to it. You change the reflection by changing yourself. So instead of chasing her, start becoming the man she'd never want to walk away from. Here's the truth. Most men don't want to hear. Heartbreak doesn't happen in a single moment. It builds quietly, slowly. It begins the moment you start betraying yourself, even just a little. When you silence your intuition, when you stop showing up as the man you promised yourself you'd be. Cheating, rejection, emotional collapse. These things don't arrive like lightning. They creep in through silence, through avoidance, through the little ways we disconnect and pretend everything's fine. And we stay, not because we're blind, but because we're afraid of what we'll see if we open our eyes. We convince ourselves, she's just stressed. It's just a phase. I just need to try harder. But here's the thing. You don't fix disconnection by begging. You don't regain respect by abandoning your own soul. There's a quote I want you to remember. A real man doesn't beg to stay in a place where his soul is no longer welcome. Read that again. Because your peace is sacred. Your presence, your energy, your truth. It all matters. When you ignore the signs, when you shrink to make others comfortable, you don't just lose her, you lose yourself. So today, this moment might be the wake-up call you didn't know you needed. Not to point fingers, not to blame, but to reclaim. Choose clarity over confusion. Choose your soul over silence. Choose to rise, not in ego, but in truth. Because the most powerful version of you isn't the one who wins her back. It's the one who never abandons himself again. If this message stirred something in you, don't just scroll past it. Sit with it. Reflect on it. Let it move you. And if you're ready to stop abandoning yourself, not just in relationships, but in life, then stick around. This channel isn't about noise or shallow hype. It's a space for men like you searching for truth, healing, and quiet strength. Leave a comment. What's one truth you've ignored for too long and are finally ready to face? Share this video with someone who needs this wake-up call, because real brotherhood means helping others rise. 2. And remember, you're not lost. You're just waking up. Stay grounded, stay clear, and keep walking forward.